The story kicks off with Taro Sakamoto, a former hitman, ruthlessly eliminating several men in a building. Soon after, he visits a local shop and instantly falls for its owner, Aoi. The narrator steps in to reveal that Taro marries Aoi. They have a daughter named Hana, and Taro transitions to a quieter life, gaining some weight along the way. Fast forward, Shin, another hitman and Taro's former protege, arrives in town and scopes out Taro's humble shop. At the same time, a mischievous child draws a target on the shop's entrance, challenging Taro to give him a free juice box if he hits the target with an arrow. The attempt fails spectacularly, with the child tripping and spilling ink on a customer's pants. Before the customer lashes out, Taro steps in and diffuses the situation using nothing but his pen. His calm and composed demeanor leaves everyone impressed. Shin introduces himself to Taro, urging his former mentor to return to the hitman lifestyle. Taro, however, refuses, firmly committed to his family and new role in the community. Their conversation is interrupted by locals seeking Taro's help with various small tasks, which he fulfills with the same precision and care he once applied to his deadly craft. Shin, puzzled but intrigued by Taro's new life, departs and reports back to his boss. Shin's boss, furious that Taro broke one of their organization's rules, orders Shin to assassinate his former mentor. Reluctantly, Shin agrees, though he wrestles with his own feelings about the assignment. He reflects on his partnership with Taro and decides that if anyone is to kill him, it should be Shin himself. Shin confronts Taro at the shop, but his assassination attempt goes awry when Taro casually deflects the bullet with a cough drop. In a swift and effortless counterattack, Taro incapacitates Shin. When Shin wakes up, he finds himself in the care of Taro's family. During dinner, Taro opens up about why he left the hitman world, revealing the joy and peace he's found with his family. Despite their clash, Taro invites Shin to visit the shop anytime. Determined to protect Taro, Shin returns to his boss's hideout and begs for Taro's life. His boss refuses, prompting Shin to threaten suicide as a bargaining chip. Though his boss pretends to relent, Shin's psychic powers reveal his true intentions. The gang still plans to kill Taro. A shootout erupts, with Shin using his mind-reading abilities to stay one step ahead of his enemies. Unbeknownst to Shin, Taro has been monitoring the entire situation via a bug planted in Shin's gun. Armed with weapons from his shop's hidden armory, Taro arrives at the scene and systematically dismantles the gang, including Shin's boss. Taro reveals how he tracked Shin using the bug and, in an unexpected gesture, tosses a shop apron at Shin. He offers Shin a job, inviting him to leave the hitman life behind. Then we see Shin working at Taro's shop, learning the ropes of customer service and joking around with the local children. More customers start flooding into the store, showing how Taro's peaceful life is thriving even as traces of his violent past remain just beneath the surface. Shin praises Sakamoto's combat skills despite his weight gain, but Sakamoto gets annoyed and tells him to focus on his job. Overhearing them, Sakamoto's wife questions if he has returned to fighting. Sakamoto denies it, and she reminds him of their promise. If he ever went back to violence, their relationship would end. Sakamoto reassures her he hasn't broken the rule. When Shin asks about the rule, Sakamoto glares at him, imagining silencing him, which makes Shin yell in pain and tell Sakamoto to stop doing that. Later, Sakamoto and Shin go to Chinatown. Shin is amazed by the lively streets and assumes they're there to buy supplies. Instead, he sees Sakamoto buying pork for his wife and daughter. Shin teases Sakamoto about how much he loves his family, but Sakamoto ignores him. While there, a girl named O accidentally breaks a window and falls onto Sakamoto, ruining the pork he just bought. Furious, Sakamoto stares at the mess, while Shin suggests the meat could still be used, but Sakamoto says it's ruined. Before they leave, a group of men chasing O arrives. O declares she won't run from them and takes down 2 men with powerful kicks. 3 more try to corner her, but she leaps over one, knocks out another, and throws the last into a dumpster. A larger man grabs her, while another with a knife threatens to hurt her. Sakamoto intervenes, breaking the knife with a chopstick. Shin uses his bag to fight off another attacker, and Oh disarms the man with a gun. The trio escapes, dodging gunfire. At their hideout, the gang leader, Dan, yells at his men for failing to capture Oh. He explains that the key she carries can unlock the black market and orders them to retrieve her no matter what. Bito, one of his assassins, kills a subordinate for failing, terrifying the others. As Sakamoto, Shin, and Oh run, Shin asks why the gang is chasing her. Oh explains that her father was a mafia boss, and the key unlocks a vault with her family's treasures. Her father died protecting it, and her mother entrusted her to keep it safe. Shin suggests she hand over the key, but Oh refuses, saying she can't betray her family's trust. She apologizes for involving them and leaps away. Sakamoto stops Shin from following her and asks if Oh knows how to cook pork. Surprised, Oh says her father taught her. Sakamoto promises to handle the gang if Oh agrees to cook for them. Before they can act, Bito ambushes them with a kick, starting a fight. Sakamoto and Shin face off against Bito and his brother, Sun, two deadly assassins. The brothers attack together, but Sakamoto dodges their strikes with ease. Sun tries to capture Oh and flee, but Shin stops him with a rope. Sakamoto finishes Sun by dropping a refrigerator on him. Impressed, Oh asks who Sakamoto really is. Sakamoto casually replies, "Just a shop worker," while eating a crab leg. The scene shifts to Dan, frustrated as he struggles to open the vault. Oh confronts him and knocks him out. When she opens the vault, they all marvel at the treasures inside. Among them, Oh finds a letter from her father with a recipe for his favorite drink. They sit together, enjoying a meal of pork, and Sakamoto declares it perfect. Oh agrees, smiling at the piece after the chaos. Lu arrived at Sakamoto's shop 2 hours late, instantly frustrating Shin. He confronted her about her tardiness, but Lu dismissed his concerns, calling it a small delay. Shin, visibly irritated, pointed out that 2 hours was far from small. Turning his attention to the disorganized refrigerator, he accused Lu of doing everything wrong. Lu retorted sarcastically, saying she had experience helping her father bury bodies underground. Annoyed, Shin stormed over to Sakamoto, insisting Lu be fired for her incompetence. Lu shrugged off the criticism, reiterating that organizing wasn't essential. Sakamoto intervened, calmly asking Lu to avoid being late again and scolding Shin for being overly harsh. Both Shin and Lu stared at Sakamoto, shocked by his uncharacteristically composed demeanor. Sakamoto brushed off their reactions, instructing Shin to sit with him outside while Lu prepared pork dishes. As they spoke outside, Shin remarked that he'd never heard Sakamoto talk so much. Sakamoto, unfazed, warned Shin to stop babbling or risk being killed. Before Shin could reply, another Sakamoto walked into the shop. Shin froze in shock as the newcomer lunged at the real Sakamoto with a knife. Sakamoto dodged effortlessly, disarming the imposter and pinning a weapon to his neck. The fake Sakamoto laughed, revealing himself as Tojo, an old acquaintance. Tojo admitted he still had tricks up his sleeve and warned Sakamoto of a looming threat. A $1 million bounty had been placed on his head, effective the next day. Shin scoffed, calling the bounty insultingly low for someone like Sakamoto. Just then, a pizza delivery man entered the shop. Lu eagerly claimed the order, but Shin quickly read the delivery man's thoughts, realizing he was an assassin. Before anyone could react, the assassin drew a pizza cutter weapon and pressed it against Tojo's neck. Sakamoto remained calm, eating unbothered, which only enraged the assassin. As the tension escalated, Tojo swiftly overpowered the assassin, rendering him unconscious. Tojo reaffirmed his earlier warnings and suggested forming an alliance. Sakamoto declined, calmly telling Tojo to leave. Before departing, Tojo hinted that Sakamoto might need to return to the battlefield and fight once more. Lu sarcastically asked if all assassins would show up disguised as pizza delivery men. Tojo laughed, carrying the unconscious assassin out of the shop and bid farewell to Sakamoto. Later, Sakamoto noticed something unusual on a hidden surveillance monitor, a live feed of the Assassins Association headquarters. There, a long-haired man and a cleaner debated Sakamoto's strength. The cleaner dismissed him as a retired has-been, but the long-haired man warned that Sakamoto's potential should not be underestimated. Their conversation was interrupted when Sakamoto appeared on their surveillance feed. Calmly staring into the camera, he declared that he was waiting for them and promised to bury anyone who came for him in his shop. Then, with a single precise shot, he destroyed the hidden camera. The next day, Sakamoto, Shin, Lu, and Sakamoto's family visited an amusement park. While the family enjoyed the rides, Shin remained alert, scanning the crowd for threats. Lu asked if Shin was reading her thoughts as well, but he denied it, explaining he was focused on detecting assassins. Shin suddenly sensed a killer nearby and warned Sakamoto. The assassin, known as the Cleaner, emerged and attacked. Sakamoto swiftly disarmed the Cleaner with a pen, neutralizing him without breaking a sweat. Shin and Lu discreetly transported the unconscious assassin to a forest, marveling at Sakamoto's efficiency. However, Shin couldn't shake the feeling that more threats were looming. Back at the park, another assassin, this time the long-haired man from the association, was spotted by Lu. Shin read the man's thoughts, confirming his identity as an enemy. The long-haired man attacked, firing a gun at Sakamoto, but Sakamoto dodged effortlessly. Shin leaped into action, battling the assassin on the amusement ride rails. Despite being injured, Shin persisted, using his quick thinking to counter the assassin's relentless attacks. In a final move, Shin tricked the assassin into overextending, then disarmed and subdued him during a stage performance. Disguised as a rabbit mascot, Shin delivered the finishing blow. The audience, unaware of the danger, erupted into applause, believing the fight to be part of the show. Afterward, Shin returned to Sakamoto, who nodded in approval. Two Dandenkai agency members named Boiled and Abaguro chat with each other. Then, Lu applies eye drops to Shin's eye. After that, our heroes interrogate the culprit who poisoned Shin. They want to know who hired the culprit. After Lu threatens the culprit, he tells her, Taro, and Shin everything. Shin brings up the JA. He tells Lu that JA stands for the Japanese Association of Assassins. He says the JA manages professional hitmen. Shin tells Lu that he and Taro were former JA members. Aoi and Hana meet with our heroes and the culprit. Shin doesn't disclose the culprit's true intentions to Aoi, much to the culprit's curiosity. Taro and Lu follow Aoi and Hana to an eating area. Shin tells the culprit that he and the others will take care of his poisonous weapons. He tells the culprit that he and the others won't kill him. Hana applies a band-aid on the culprit's wound and returns to her family. The culprit frees himself and plans to ride a roller coaster before departing. While Hana and Aoi grab food, Shin tells Taro and Lu that he can't read minds as of now. Shin claims the antidote gave him a headache. Concurrently, the culprit is washing his hands in the men's restroom. Abaguro and Boiled confront the culprit, and we learn his name is Tatsu. Boiled and Abaguro tell Tatsu that they're here to eliminate Taro. Tatsu informs the audience that Boiled and Abaguro are a formidable duo. Meanwhile, Shin and Lu tell Aoi he, Lu, and Taro aren't hiding anything from her. Aoi understands. She suggests they go on another theme park ride and enjoy the remainder of their time here. Before they go, Aoi and Hana suggest they attend Sugar Park's haunted house attraction. An attraction worker lectures them about the place and helps them navigate it. Meanwhile, Boiled and Abaguro monitor them from an undisclosed room. Taro, Shin, and Lu protect Hana and Aoi from the assassins lurking in the haunted house. At the same time, Abaguro monitors Taro's group. Abaguro wants to get the hit on Taro, but Boiled tells her he wants to do it. Boiled reveals why he dislikes Taro. We enter a flashback set at the Hitman Training Center, or the Japan Clear Creation JCC. There, a young Boiled interacts with a young Taro. Boiled tells Taro he doesn't dislike him for beating up his companion. Boiled says he and Taro were semi-companions. However, Taro's fangirls convinced Boiled that Taro wasn't as hard-boiled as he assumed. Then, we return to following Taro's group. Shin belittles Lu for being afraid. Lu drinks alcohol to calm herself down. Taro's group hears something coming from a door. Lu opens the door and many zombies storm out of it. Boiled knocks Taro through a wall during this skirmish. The two find themselves in a different location and plan to fight. Meanwhile, Shin finds Aoi and Hana lying on the ground. Shin learns they're unconscious. Obaguro confronts Shin with her horde of fake zombies. Lu arrives and plans to use her drunken fist technique to fight Obaguro. Concurrently, Taro wants Boiled to tell him where his family is. Boiled refuses. He's more fixated on making Taro remember him. Meanwhile, Obaguro forces Lu to the ground. Obaguro orders her comrades to strap Shin to a table. Then, Obaguro turns to Lu and places an hourglass on the table. Obaguro tells Lu she must hit her every 10 seconds. If Lu fails, Obaguro claims her ally will use his chainsaw to dismember Shin. At the same time, Taro seemingly struggles against Boiled. Boiled informs Taro about his equipment's abilities. He claims he looked up to Taro in the past, but has gotten soft since they last met. Concurrently, Taro recalls a memory of Boiled informing him and Nagumo about his weapons. In the present, Boiled and Taro continue fighting and the former knocks the latter into a wall. Taro emerges from the smoke and is thin again. He lists the materials Boiled used for his weapons. Taro tells Boiled he remembers him. Taro tells Boiled he'll show him what he can do. Lu endured Abaguro's blows but stumbled after a kick, admitting her exhaustion. Shin, tied up, recalled Abaguro's cruel deal: if she struck Lu every 10 seconds, he'd be spared. Fear gripped him. Abaguro lunged for another kick, but Lu dodged, striking back with her hair, calling it luck. Frustrated, Shin urged her to fight seriously. Abaguro landed a heavy hit, declaring playtime over. But Lu just laughed, took a swig of alcohol, and, mid-drink, dodged another attack before kissing Obaguro's hand and countering with a brutal strike. Exhilarated, Obaguro begged for death, but Lu refused. It was against her family's rules. When Obaguro mocked her definition of family, Lu named Shin, the director, and his family, enraging Obaguro. She attacked, but Lu only touched her face, leaving her confused. Suddenly, Lu woke up, asking who Obaguro was and why Shin was tied up. Shin groaned she'd snapped out of it at the worst moment. Obaguro, assuming mockery, hesitated, then smiled in admiration and hugged Lu. Shin, relieved, declared himself safe. Meanwhile, Taro explained explosives to Boiled. Boiled suggested losing weight would make him stronger, urging him to fight. Taro had faith in his family but suddenly punched Boiled across the room, demolishing a building. Their fierce exchange left Boiled's weapons shattered. Desperate, Boiled hurled explosives, but Taro caught them midair, using them to pummel him. They crashed into an amusement park ride, landing opposite each other. Bleeding, Boiled admitted underestimating Taro. Later, an employee ignored his injuries, demanding payment for the ruined ride. Accepting defeat, Boiled agreed to leave Taro alone. Unfazed, Taro ordered 5 meat sandwiches. Intrigued, Boiled asked for a bite, and Taro handed over some, calling it leftovers for his family. Shin arrived, shocked by Taro's sudden weight loss, snapping pictures as proof. Boiled mentioned a gang's bounty on Taro. Before he could respond, his wife overheard "reward" and looked furious. When Taro admitted assassins were after him, she demanded an explanation. Boiled revealed Taro hadn't wanted to ruin her trip. Enraged, she reminded him of Family Rule 6: no secrets. Caught off guard, Taro nodded. She insisted they enjoy the show now that the problem was handled. Boiled, impressed, praised her toughness. Later, Shin asked how they'd stop the bounty. Taro said they had to kill the gang's presenter to cancel it, but needed to identify them first. Obaguro revealed GGI was behind it, complicating matters. Boiled suggested his boss might help. Shin, frustrated, pushed him to make the call. The team met an info broker, uncovering gang details. As they left, an employee warned Taro that someone from his team might be betraying him. Meanwhile, at a business lunch, Nagumo denied knowing Taro. Suspicious, Heio attacked, but Nagumo deflected with a fork, warning him to save the killing for dinner. Taro's team infiltrated the gang's HQ, silently eliminating guards only to find them already dead. At the center sat Nagumo, smirking. He told Taro he'd caught him red-handed. Shin demanded answers, but Nagumo claimed he was on a separate mission and found the bodies first. He warned that pro-assassins were being systematically wiped out, each kill marked with an X. Back at Taro's store, an armed intruder demanded his location. Lu pressed a button, triggering a rain of weapons. Taro recalled Nagumo's warning: if he was only as strong as Bullet, he was doomed. Uncertain of their enemy's identity, Taro resolved to train his team for the battles ahead. Shin is sweeping up the shattered glass, muttering about how he's always cleaning up after reckless assassins. He points out that the store is falling apart, and Sakamoto agrees it's long overdue for renovations. Shin suggests entering a local competition with a hefty cash prize. Before they can discuss further, another clueless assassin barges in, demanding to know where Sakamoto is. Sakamoto plays dumb, confusing the assassin until the crew offers him food. Satisfied, the assassin leaves, his mission temporarily forgotten. That night, the assassin sits alone, reflecting on his failures. He remembers the ridicule he faced in the Assassin Guild and vows to prove himself. Just as despair sets in, a flyer for the competition lands on his face. His eyes light up. This is his chance to turn things around. The next day, Shin and Sakamoto arrive at the competition venue. The place is buzzing with excitement. As they collect their gear, the clueless assassin from the previous day shows up, his pet bird perched on his shoulder. Desperate to compete, he begs to join their team. Reluctantly, Shin scribbles Sakamoto's name next to his on the sign-up sheet. "Fine, we're teammates now," Shin grumbles. The first event is a massive paintball shootout. The assassin surprises everyone by taking out 4 opponents in seconds, earning Shin's reluctant respect. However, his mood sours when he overhears Lu cheering for Sakamoto. Realizing he's been tricked, he turns on them, revealing his true skills as a sniper. He pulls out a custom weapon, and the tension skyrockets. A tense battle ensues. Sakamoto analyzes the assassin's advanced ricochet techniques, noting how the bullets bounce at precise angles. Using his quick thinking, Sakamoto disables the assassin's weapon with a well-aimed stone. The announcer's voice booms, "Team Sakamoto wins." After the competition, the defeated assassin sits on the curb, feeling utterly worthless. Sakamoto approaches him and says, "You're one of the best snipers I've ever seen." The compliment lifts his spirits slightly. Shin hands him a small portion of the prize money, joking, "You caused too much property damage. This is all you get." Back at the store, Sakamoto's wife teases him about spending the prize money on city repairs instead of store renovations. Shin, curious, asks how the two of them met. She smiles, recalling the first time she saw Sakamoto in a store. "He had the biggest, sweetest smile," she says. Sakamoto, overhearing, silently warns Shin not to pry into his wife's thoughts again. At a school observation day, Taro and Aoi watch their children in class. Meanwhile, at Taro's shop, Shin and Lu argue until Haisuke interrupts, casually requesting pork buns. Frustrated, Shin storms out. Moments later, a group of men mistake Lu wearing Shin's uniform for him and abduct her. During the drive, Saber realizes their mistake, but Tanaka refuses to accept it, ranting about Shin's past as a failed psychic experiment. Enraged, Lu lunges at him. Back at the shop, Shin returns to find Lu missing. Taro, unfazed, reveals the shop's uniforms contain GPS trackers. They take off on Taro's motorcycle in pursuit. Meanwhile, Tanaka and Seba strategize, unaware of their approaching pursuers. A fight breaks out, taking down Tanaka's men. Realizing they're outmatched, Seba speeds off with Tanaka fighting them off. The chase ends when the GPS signal stops at Okutabi. On a bus to Okutabi Science Museum, Shin reveals the lab his former home is hidden beneath it. Upon arrival, museum staff snap photos of them in dinosaur costumes before blocking entry. Once inside, Shin leads Taro toward the lab's entrance. Meanwhile, Seba confesses to his boss, Kashima, that they captured the wrong person. Displeased, Kashima orders Tanaka locked up with Lu. As Shin and Taro enter the lab, alarms blare, robot animals attack, followed by a massive fossilized robot T-Rex. Taro takes it down, but their victory is brief. Elsewhere, Dr. Ishikawa, a lab scientist, reveals Kashima's assassins took over a year ago. Before he can say more, Kashima's enforcer, Mad Horiguchi, attacks. Shin intervenes, but Mad stabs him with a needle, scrambling his speech. Taro retaliates, slamming Mad into a desk as they prepare for another fight. Unbeknownst to them, Asaragi and Shishiba arrive at the museum, wondering if it has ties to Slur. Without hesitation, they step inside. Haisuke enters the Sakamoto family shop and finds Hana crying at the counter. She's upset that Shin, Lu, and Taro are missing. Determined to help, Haisuke reassures her and sends Pisuke to track them down. Meanwhile, Lu interrogates Asakura, while Taro and Shin face off against Mad. Taro tries to punch Mad but ends up hitting Shin instead. Confused, he learns that Mad injected him with a needle that scrambles his brain's recognition signals, making his friends appear as enemies. To land a hit on Mad, Taro has to trick his mind by thinking about attacking Shin first. He puts this into practice, landing a punch on Mad. Elsewhere, Asakura reveals he's responsible for Shin's psychic abilities, blaming himself for dragging Shin into his research. He recalls how Shin, as a child, drank an experimental concoction, awakening his mind-reading powers. Asakura once promised to cure Shin, but Shin embraced his abilities instead. Lu urges Asakura to make amends with him. Using a chemical concoction, Asakura dissolves their cell's bars, freeing himself, Tanaka, and Lu. Back at the fight, Mad injects himself with enhancers, boosting his speed and strength. He gains the upper hand until Taro and Shin outmaneuver him. Afterward, scientists thank them, and the duo heads deeper into the lab. Shin believes Lu is being held on the 4th basement level, but as they advance, Taro steps on a hidden switch. A trap door opens, and he shoves Shin out of the way before falling through it. Meanwhile, Kashima and his top enforcers, Takamito and Onigahara, encounter Shishiba and Asaragi on the 5th basement level. The assassins reveal they've already wiped out most of Kashima's men. When Kashima refuses to surrender, Asaragi swiftly eliminates Takamito and Onigahara. Enraged, Kashima retaliates, cracking Shishiba's ribs. Shishiba counters with a wrench strike that twists Kashima's head around, but Kashima effortlessly resets his neck, revealing his unique abilities. At that moment, Taro crashes through the ceiling, greeting Shishiba and Asaragi. Shishiba introduces Asaragi as a new order member before they depart, confident Taro can handle Kashima. Meanwhile, Shin encounters Seba and prepares to fight. Seba quickly gains the upper hand, pushing Shin to his limit. Just before Seba can finish him off, Haisuke arrives and takes the shot. As Seba collapses, Shin sighs in relief and thanks Haisuke for the save. Sakamoto faced the gang leader, demanding he leave out of respect for his friend. The leader scoffed, intent on spreading chaos. When he revealed a hidden weapon in his mouth, Sakamoto jammed a pen into it, causing it to explode. With a cold stare, he warned the leader to stay out of his friend's business. Meanwhile, Lu and the lab director hid from guards. The director feared their escape had been noticed. When Tanaka tried to flee, Lu yanked him back, reminding him he was still their hostage. Determined, she vowed to apologize to Shin once they got out. Elsewhere, Shin thanked a hitman for his perfect timing, while Seba engaged in a sniper battle. Confident, Seba fired an iron arrow, landing a hit only for a ricochet shot to sever his arm. The sniper exposed Seba's invisibility by shooting a water valve. leaving Shin to deliver the final blow. Back at the lab, the gang leader revealed he had rigged the facility with explosives, leaving only 20 minutes until detonation. Sakamoto, unfazed, claimed 5 minutes was more than enough. Enhanced with 70% weaponized modifications, the leader launched a vicious attack, but Sakamoto countered effortlessly, using everyday objects as weapons. Their fight escalated onto a moving train, where the leader hurled passengers at Sakamoto to slow him down. Catching each one safely, Sakamoto declared no one would threaten his family. With a final blow, he ended the battle. With 15 minutes left, Sakamoto contacted Shin, confirming the leader's defeat. Meanwhile, Lu shielded the director as the lab crumbled. Shin arrived just in time, and Lu, remorseful, apologized. The director, seeing Shin's growth, led them to safety. Elsewhere, Shishiba and Osaragi uncovered Beno as the mastermind. As Shin and the director escaped, Bango ominously told Shin to send his regards to Sakamoto. Outside, the survivors regrouped, relieved. The doctors, unfazed by the lab's destruction, reassured them their research would live on. Later, at Sakamoto's house, everyone shared a meal. As Lu and Shin bickered over food, Sakamoto, fed up, smacked them both, calling them fools who never learn. Shin was unable to move due to exhaustion from the lab battle, and he told Sakamoto they were vulnerable if someone attacked. After reading about a location in the newspaper, they decided to visit the Spring of Relaxation. Shin hesitated to enter, feeling too fatigued to fight, but Sakamoto assured him the place would restore his strength. At the bathhouse, a staff member recognized Sakamoto and secretly identified him as the infamous killer. Determined to make a name for himself, the staff member set traps in the bathhouse. When Shin activated a button to enhance the experience, the staff member's device sent him flying, injuring him. Despite increasing the water pressure, Sakamoto remained unharmed, frustrating the staff member. Next, they entered the steam room, where Sakamoto remained unaffected by the intense heat, reminiscent of his training. When the staff member froze the pool to trap them, Sakamoto remained unaffected, though Shin was caught in the ice. Later, at the waterfall pool, increased water pressure injured Shin but had no effect on Sakamoto. Exhausted, Shin rested while Sakamoto effortlessly played table tennis. The staff member, Utero, recalled his father urging him to take over the bathhouse, but he had aspired to be an assassin. When 2 men mocked him for working there, he was attacked. Sakamoto intervened, effortlessly taking them down. Inspired, Utero decided to embrace his family's business and leave assassination behind. Later, at a restaurant, Shin and Sakamoto encountered Lu, who challenged Shin to pick the right drink. He failed, and she teased him. As they ate, armed men ambushed them, but Sakamoto easily deflected a bullet with a fork, and Shin took down another attacker. Lu then recognized a mafia member, Wong, who asked her to return and lead their organization. She refused, preferring her peaceful life. Wong, determined to win Lu back, proposed a competition. If Sakamoto and Shin won, he would reveal the identity of the person who put a bounty on Sakamoto. They followed him to an underground gambling club, where they had 2 hours to earn as much money as possible. Confident, Sakamoto assured Shin they had an advantage Shin's mind-reading ability. As the competition began, Tang, a skilled strategist, quickly doubled his money, setting the stage for an intense challenge. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.